Okay, let's just jump right in. What if one of the oldest rituals in human history wasn't about worship at all? What if I told you we're going to explore a radical theory today, that the sacred fire wasn't some god we needed to praise, but maybe, just maybe, it was the world's very first communication technology?
You're hearing the very first verse of the Rig Veda. You know, one of the oldest texts we have. And the usual translation? It's basically a hymn of praise. Simple enough? But what if that's a total misreading? What if this isn't a prayer at all? What if it's the start of a coded transmission, like an operational command?
So the story we all know, right? It's a prayer. It's this devotional act where people offer up grain and ghee to make a fire god, Agni, happy. It's all presented as this very simple, very straightforward spiritual transaction.
But what if that whole interpretation is, well, just missing the point? Completely. The idea we're digging into today says this has nothing to do with worship. It's about using a powerful, ancient piece of tech.
And this brings us to a really crucial new definition. See, in this view, Agni isn't a god, it's a process. Think about it. Fire is pretty unique, right? It can take matter through every single state, from solid to liquid to gas, and then boom, into light and heat. It literally converts physical stuff into pure energy, into a signal. Fire is a converter. All right, so let's put these two ideas side by side. You've got the myth we all know, and then you've got the mechanics of what might be a hidden science.
This is the story you were probably told, the really simple version of the ritual, called a yajna. You know, burn some ghee, have some priests chant, the smoke goes up, and poof, God happy. It's basically a transaction. You burn expensive stuff, make some noise, and some being out there is pleased. But if you look at this new analysis, that's a massive misreading of the user manual.
And this is where the whole vocabulary just gets flipped on its head. God worship? Nope, that becomes energy exchange. Superstition? Try network router. And that offering? That's recoded as a data upload. You see? This isn't just a different opinion, it's a whole different paradigm.
So here's the core idea, the big thesis. Agni is the mechanism. It's the interface that connects our physical world, the world of stuff, to the non-physical world of energy and information. And think about it. Whether it's the metabolic fire burning in our own cells or the nuclear fusion happening in a star, it's all the same fundamental process, transformation.
Okay, let's really dive into this metaphor for a second. Let's call Agni the universe's oldest network router. I mean, if you want to send a message, right, an intention, out into the universe, you need a router. And this whole perspective argues that the ancient seers, they weren't praying. They were using the most efficient tool they had to convert matter into information.
Now look, if this is really a technology, then it has to have real, tangible, measurable effects, right? Well, that's exactly what the science seems to be showing, starting with how it impacts the immediate environment.
So modern scientific studies on these fire ceremonies, these yagnas, they've recorded some pretty startling effects. The smoke from the specific herbs they burn, it's been shown to disinfect the air, actually killing harmful bacteria. It generates negative ions, which are linked to all sorts of positive health effects, and some research even suggests it can neutralize pollutants and cut down on ambient radiation. Wild, right?
So when you see all these effects laid out, the whole practice just shifts. It stops looking like simple devotion. This was environmental engineering. It starts looking like a very sophisticated, almost pre-modern form of it, just disguised as a ritual for everyone to follow.
But the effects aren't just out there in the environment. This technology seems to have also been designed to plug directly into the human operating system. I'm talking about our brain and our nervous system.
And this is a really crucial piece of the puzzle. You got to remember, humans evolved around fire. For hundreds of thousands of years, fire meant safety, it meant warmth, it meant community. Our brains are just deeply evolutionarily hardwired to respond to the flicker of a flame and the rhythm of sound that usually went along with it. And look, this isn't just a feeling. This is measurable neurology. The combo of the firelight and the rhythmic chanting, it actually induces theta brainwaves, the same ones associated with deep meditation and creativity. It literally lowers cortisol, your main stress hormone. So the result is this state of super high focus and a complete emotional reset. You could say it's like they were hacking the brain, using these rituals to bring about a state of calm.
Let's trace the biological pathway here. First, you burn specific bioactive materials, things like ghee, special herbs, camphor. Step 2, these bioactive aerosols, they enter your bloodstream directly through your lungs when you breathe them in.
Step 3, these compounds then go on to influence your hormones, your immunity, your mood, and the result, a complete neural and chemical reset.
So what we've kind of dismissed as a primitive offering to the gods was actually a pretty sophisticated delivery system for potent mood-altering compounds. It's not just an offering, it's airborne neurochemistry. All right, so we've looked at the environmental effects, we've looked at the biological effects. Now let's put all the pieces together and see the full picture of this ancient system. Let's see how it all fits together as a single, cohesive technology.
Okay, component 1, the mantra. The rhythmic chanting, that's not just a prayer. Think of it as the code. It's the software, a specific frequency signal being programmed into the system. Component 2, the fire. The fire itself isn't the guide you're talking to, it's the carrier wave. It's the transmission medium, kind of like a radio signal that carries the information you've just coded with the mantra.
And component 3, maybe the most important part, your intention, your focused thought. This is the data. This is the actual message, the content that you're putting onto that carrier wave.
So, mantra is the code, fire is the carrier wave, and your intention is the data. When you put all that together, what are you actually doing? You're not praying. You're uploading. You're broadcasting your specific coded intention straight out into the universe.
And according to this theory, it gets even more sophisticated. The timing of these rituals? It wasn't random. They were supposedly aligned with cosmic events, like the peak ionization of the atmosphere at sunrise, or shifts in the Earth's geomagnetic fields. So these ancient seers, they weren't just priests. You could almost say they were physicists, trying to align their work with the fundamental laws of nature.
Which brings us to the final, really powerful conclusion here. The gods, they don't need your offerings. Your consciousness does. The entire system was never about pleasing some external deity. It was designed for you, to clean your environment, to reset your brain, and to give you a technology to transform and broadcast your own consciousness. The offerings, the whole ritual, it was for the person running it, not for some far-off divine being.